and welcome to Indices with Cubic Education. In this lecture, you will understand what an index is, multiply and divide with indices, and work out a power of a power, if that makes sense. So, a few things to remember, or that you've probably seen before in school or in your previous studies. So first of all, 5 squared. So that little 2 at the top there, that means squared. That means 5 times 5. Does it mean 5 times 2? It means 5 times 5. So that would be 25. Okay, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. 5 cubed, the little 3, means that you're going to do 5 times 5 times 5. 3 fives, okay? Not 5 times 3, 5 times 5 times 5. And that gives us 125. 5 to the power of 4 means 5 times 5 times 5 times 5. You get the idea, okay? So these rules are used when multiplying numbers with powers. So for example, here is the rule that you need to remember, and it looks really complicated, but I'll show you how to do it. So here is an example of a question. How could we simplify or work out 2 to the power of 5 times 2 to the power of 6? Now if we look at the rule over here, we can see that whatever number is here and whatever number is here, as long as these numbers are the same, so these are both an A, and here these are both a 2, as long as they're the same, we can just add these two powers together. Can you see? You can just add those two numbers. So you can pause the video and have a go if you want to, working out what the answer might be to that question. Don't actually work it out. Don't do 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, blah, 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 blah. Just add the powers, because then we can leave it in its simplified version. So if you want to pause the video, go ahead now and have a go. Okay, so let's go through it. So 2 to the power of 5 times 2 to the power of 6 means we will just add those two powers together, giving us 2 to the power of 11. That's all you have to do. Okay. If it wants you to simplify it, this is our simplified version. We're just adding them together. If it actually wanted you to work out the answer to it, then you would actually have to do 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, blah, 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 11 times. You probably won't get asked to do that unless it is a calculator paper. Okay, and there will be a video on using calculators to do this kind of thing. Okay, so the actual answer would be 2048, but like I said, leave it in the simplified version. That's mainly what they're going to want you to do. So let's have a look at another question. Okay, how would we simplify 3 to the power of 4 times 3 squared, or 3 to the power of 2? Again, if you want to pause the video and have a go, please go for it. Okay, so let's look at the answer. So we're just going to add those two powers together and write down 3 to the power of 6. Now this doesn't work if this number and this number are different. Okay, we can only do it if they're the same. That's why the rule has A. Okay, we can only use the same number. Okay, so like I said, this is just a reminder that the numbers in front have to be the same. Okay, for example, we couldn't do 3 to the power of 4 times 4 to the power of 2. We'd actually have to work out the answer. So you'd have to work out 3 times 3 times 3 times 3, and then work out that bit, and then do 4 times 4, and then times them together, which would take forever, so we would not get you to do that. Okay, so rule number 1 then is to multiply numbers which have the same base, that same big number, you just add the powers, okay? Oops. So if you want to write that rule down, then go ahead. Okay, if you're taking notes, which I hope you are during all of these lectures. Okay, let's go on to rule number 2. Before that, sorry, you can have a go at a few of these questions. I think I did 5. So pause the video, have a go at the questions, and I'll go through the answers. Okay, if you've had a go, here are the answers. So 2 to the power of 8, straightforward, that one. 3 to the power of 12, also straightforward. Now this third one is still straightforward. You just leave the x the same and just add the 5 and the 9. Really easy, x to the power of 14. And then 5 to the power of 10, and then the next one is 8 to the power of 14. Okay, so hopefully that's made lots of sense, and it's a nice easy rule to remember. So let's move on then to rule number 2. So rule number 2, this looks like a really complicated rule, but it isn't. So this is when we are dividing numbers. So previously, as you can see, we were timesing them. Okay, so when we timesed, we added the powers. Okay, with this one, this line here means divide. Okay, so basically it's asking you to divide these two numbers. They could write it as a to the power of m and then put the actual divide sign, but in algebra we tend to use this divide line instead and write it as a fraction. So when we're dividing numbers with powers, we just take them away. So this is like the opposite of what we've just been doing. We're just taking them away. I'll show you an example to make it more understandable. So how would we simplify 5 to the power of 7 over 5 to the power of 3? So all you're going to need to do, we could write it like this if it makes more sense. Okay, you can put the divide sign in, and then you're just going to take away those powers. So it would end up with 5 to the power of 4. Okay, 7, take away 3 is 4, and 5 stays the same. Okay, let's do another one. 4 squared over 4 to the power of 5. Now this one's a little bit trickier just because we're taking away. So if we wrote it like that, you actually have to do 2 take away 5. 2 take away 5 is 4 to the power of minus 3. Okay, so 2 take away 5 is minus 3. So just be careful with those ones. You can have the minus 3 as your power. Okay, so let's have a go at a few questions then. Pause the video and have a go at simplifying these ones. I've written the divide sign in there for you instead of doing it as a fraction just to help you out. Okay, so pause the video and have a go. But just remember in your exam, it will most of the time look like a fraction. Okay. Okay, if you've had a go at the questions, here are your answers. So the first one, 2 to the power of 3, because obviously we have to do 6 take away 3. And then 7 take away 5. 4 take away 1. 6 take away 3. And 5 take away 8. Okay, so that would be minus 3. Okay, be careful. Remember, if the number on the top of the fraction or the first one is smaller than this one, you're going to end up with a minus answer. So just be careful there. Okay, rule number 3 then. Again, this one looks really complicated, but it isn't that bad. So what this means is if you get something that looks like this, where this is a number and these are also numbers, you can just times them together. Okay, I'll show you an example. So you're just going to multiply the powers now. So here's a question that you might get. So 2 to the power of 3, in brackets, all to the power of 4. Okay, and all you're going to do is multiply those two powers together. 3 times 4 is 12, so your answer will be 2 to the power of 12. Alright, as easy as that really. So if you need to write anything down, pause the video, write down any notes. And because it's that simple, I've only done the one slide on this, so I've got some questions for you coming up, okay? Right, so there are 5 questions. Pause the video and have a go at them. Okay, if you've had a go, here are your answers. So 5 times 6 is 30, 2 times 3 is 6, 4 times 2 is 8, 6 8s are 48, and 3 times 9 is 27. So they're not so bad. They're quite nice. Just remember how the rule looks. If you want me to just quickly, I'll just quickly go back one sec. So you can see, if it looks like this, we just times them. Alright, or this is probably a bit better to write down, to remember by. Okay. Right, sorry, just flick through. Okay, so we have a few special powers that you need to remember, and these are rules that will come up, and they'll probably ask you a really simple question like, what's this? And you just have to write the answer. So these are ones that you need to learn. Okay, so first of all, you can discover one of them by simplifying. Okay, so for example, here we have a to the power of 6 divided by a to the power of 6. Well, you know when we divide, we take away, and that tends to give us a to the power of 0, okay, because 6 take away 6 is 0. Now, a to the power of 0 is like saying it's to the power of nothing, okay? So we do know that anything divided by itself is 1, okay? So anything to the power of 0 is 1. Okay, as easy as that. That's all you've got to remember. Anything to the power of 0 is always 1. You don't even have to remember why. If you don't get this, that's fine. But if this comes up and it says, what is a to the power of 0? You just put 1. What is 9 to the power of 0? It's 1. What is x to the power of 0? It is 1. It's always 1. You can't go wrong with it. Anything to the power of 0, your answer is going to be 1. Okay, I'll stop going on about it now, but I'm just saying, make sure you remember that one. Okay, it really is likely that it will come up. Okay, so you can discover the second special power also by simplifying. Okay, so we have, it's not really a special power, it's pretty obvious, but let's say we had a to the power of 3 divided by a to the power of 2. Okay, again, you would take these away, leaving you with a to the power of 1. Well, a to the power of 1 is like saying, well, like 2 to the power of 1. Well, 2 to the power of 1, it's just 2. So you're just left with a. So anything that is to the power of 1, okay, is just that number. So if we had 7 to the power of 1, our answer would just be 7, okay? Anything to the power of 1 is just that number. You don't have to change anything, you just get rid of the 1. If the answer becomes 8 to the power of 1, just write 8. If the answer becomes 22 to the power of 1, just write 22. Alright, nice and easy. Right, so here are just a few more for you to do whilst we, to finish off. They're a little bit harder, and they will kind of go through those little special rules for you. So pause the video and have a go at these. Use your common sense. Okay, if you've had a go, let's look at the first one. So 4 to the power of 2 times 4, well again, this is like saying to the power of 1, and we're timesing, so we add them. Okay, so if this is 4 on its own, we can pretend it's 4 to the power of 1, and we would have to add the powers, so we must have the 3. Okay, again, we're doing a time, so we would add them, and this is like saying 9 to the power of 1, so we would end up with 9 to the power of 6. Now this one here, be aware, remember we have to times these ones in the brackets, so 3 times 0 is actually 0, so our answer would actually be 1, because 3 times 0 gives us 0, which means we would have y to the power of 0, and anything to the power of 0 is 1. Okay, this one, nice and easy. This would be a 1 here, remember? Okay, so 6, and we're doing a division, so we take away, 6 take away 1 is x to the power of 5. This one's a little bit harder because we have z to the power of 1 and z to the power of 4, which actually ends up as z to the power of 5 divided by z to the power of 5. Well, 5 divided by 5 is 1, so our answer would just be 1, okay? And then, fine, if you're not sure on that one, just go back to the special rules I talked about and see if you can understand what I mean. And then this one, 6 to the power of 6 divided by 6 to the power of 5, well, 6 take away 5 is 1, so technically it would be 6 to the power of 1, but we would just write it as 6, okay? I hope that's really understandable for you. Okay, so your last task, pause the video, and I want you to try and match up the answers. So you've got like something like this, and there'll be an answer in there for it, okay? So again, if I did one for you, for example, 7, this is a division, so we take away 7, take away 2 is 5, so there should be an x to the power of 5 somewhere. Yeah, there it is. Okay, so just write them down on paper, and I'll show you the answers in a second. Okay, so here are your answers. We have 7, x to the power of 7 times x to the power of 5. Well, 7 add 5 makes 12, and this one also, 3 times 4 makes 12, so they are a little bit harder. This one's straightforward, x to the power of 3, 8, take away 5. This one is a time, so we add 6 plus 1, 7. 2, okay, take away 0, okay, because we can't take away 0, would be 2. So 2 take away nothing gives us x to the power of 2, and 9 take away 7 gives us x to the power of 2. Okay, 10 minus 2 gives us 8, and 6 plus 2 gives us 8. 3 add 3 gives us 9. 9, I'm timesing. 3 add 3 gives us 6. X to the power of 5, which we worked out, and this one should be x to the power of 4. Okay? Right, I really hope you understand that. Please watch the video as many times as necessary, and if there is something that you're struggling with and you're not sure, feel free to mention in the comments and I will try to rectify it. Okay? Well done, and thank you very much for using Cubit Education. I'll see you in the next lecture.